Have you ever wondered what makes a small wheel of Parmesan cheese cost up to thousands of dollars? More than just a food, Parmesan is also a symbol of art and patience, with a production journey that lasts for years. From small curds to 40 kilograms blocks of rich cheese, all are created by talented hands and cutting-edge technology. Discover the secret behind the title King of Cheeses right now. Every year, about 132,000 tons of Parmesan cheese are produced in a small region in northern Italy, a place famous for its long culinary tradition. This industry brings in a value of €2.2 billion, with more than 3 million wheels of cheese created annually. This is one of Italy's largest exports, contributing to affirming the country's leading position in the world's cuisine. Over 1,000 years ago, monks in Italy discovered how to make Parmesan with a very simple recipe, consisting of only cow's milk, salt, and rennet milk coagulant. However, to create the unique quality, it all starts with the milk. The cow's milk used to make Parmesan must be taken from cows that have eaten fresh grass, unpasteurized. This helps preserve the natural bacteria and enzymes, the key factors that create the cheese's characteristic flavor. Each 40 kilograms wheel of cheese requires 500 liters of milk, and to produce 1 kilogram of cheese, 16 liters of milk are used. It all starts in the green fields of Emilia-Romagna. The cows are fed high-quality green fodder, which produces nutritious milk. The milk is collected twice a day, morning and evening, to ensure freshness. The evening milk is left overnight in large vats. This allows the naturally rich cream to rise to the surface. This cream is then skimmed off to make butter, while the skimmed milk is mixed with the whole milk collected that morning. This creates the perfect fat ratio for making Parmesan. The milk is poured into large copper vats, each holding 990 liters of milk, enough to make 2 giant wheels of cheese. The cheesemakers heat the milk to around 35 degrees Celsius, the ideal temperature for bacteria to grow. They add a large amount of lactic acid bacteria from the fermented whey prepared the day before. This whey contains billions of bacteria that speed up the fermentation process, creating the characteristic flavor of Parmesan cheese. After mixing the bacteria with the milk, cheesemakers add rennet, a natural enzyme extracted from the stomachs of young calves. Rennet causes the milk to coagulate in just 10 minutes, forming a solid block of cheese at the bottom of the vat. The Parmesan production process begins with a special piece of equipment called the hawthorn, where a giant egg beater beats the curd into rice-sized granules. This prepares the curd for mass production, and the vats must be heated to remove excess water at the bottom. After an hour, the granular curd has solidified into a large mass weighing more than 80 kilograms at the bottom of the vats. Master cheesemakers use a giant wooden shovel to transfer the curd onto a linen cloth and cut it into 2 halves, each weighing 40 kilograms. To do this, they need to use a special knife, which costs up to $5,000, specifically designed to split the large curd in half. After cutting, the cheese is still very wet and needs to be placed in strainers to drain off the excess liquid. At this point, the block of cheese begins to take shape, with a slightly concave shape in the middle, the classic Parmesan shape we are used to seeing. The cheese is then transferred to a steel mold, where it is carefully pressed to ensure that the mass is evenly distributed and fits the mold. A stencil with the Parmigiano Reggiano logo is placed over the cheese, creating small dots on the surface. This is a sign of origin and ensures that the cheese is produced according to strict standards in the Emilia-Romagna region. Although it has a complete shape, at this stage the cheese does not yet have the characteristic Parmesan flavor. To achieve this, the cheese wheels are soaked in large brine tanks for 20 days. During this time, the salt gradually penetrates each wheel of cheese, distributing evenly throughout the block. Not only does it enhance the flavor, the salt also affects the texture of the cheese, helping the curds to form better and reducing the amount of water remaining. The result is a hard, crunchy texture, the hallmark of Parmesan. After the salting, Parmesan enters its most important stage, aging. This stage lasts at least 2 years, and some cheeses can be aged for up to 10 years to develop a more intense flavor. During this time, bacteria inside the cheese release enzymes that break down proteins, creating the characteristic crumbly texture and intense flavor. However, this is also a risky stage. If not stored properly, moisture can build up, leading to mold growth, undoing years of hard work. In the past, artisans had to turn the cheese wheels and wipe them by hand to avoid this problem. Today, modern technology has greatly assisted the process. 3 specially programmed robots are programmed to turn the cheese wheels, wipe the shelves, and replace them. This ensures that each of the 7,000 wheels is turned at least once a week during the aging period. To assess quality without cutting the wheel, experts use a special tool, a hammer. When tapping on the wheel of cheese, the sound and vibration will help determine whether there are any holes or cracks inside. A trained ear can distinguish between a perfect wheel of Parmesan and a defective wheel. If the wheel of cheese passes the test, it will be labeled with the Parmigiano Reggiano quality certificate. However, even after receiving the certificate, the cheese still needs another 12 months to reach full maturity. After 2 years, the Parmesan is ready for consumption. The wheels of cheese will be cut into pieces or grated depending on market demand. Each piece of cheese is carefully packaged to maintain freshness before being distributed to stores around the world. The longer the cheese is aged, the higher its value. A wheel of Parmesan aged for 3 years can cost up to €28 per kilogram, equivalent to about 30 US per kilogram. The journey of making Parmesan cheese is a story of sophistication, technique, and passion. More than just a product, Parmesan is a symbol of Italian culture and culinary art. If you love stories like this, please subscribe, like, and share to continue discovering more interesting things.